Okay, we are going to proceed with topic 3. Topic 3 ni is quite long, so will be divided into two parts, part 1 and part 2. So notes pun, sorry saya lambat sikit, saya baru upload the notes last night, saya lupa. So next time if rasa macam besok dah nak kelas, kenapa notes tak ada lagi, please remind me, saya takut saya terlupa. So macam malam tadi lah, Putri ingat, alamak notes tak letak lagi. So for this week we're going to look at money market. So ini dah dikira full swing lah, because last time kita dah tengok the introduction to the financial market and institution, and then we have interest. So kita dah tengok lah all the different types of interest and also the interest determinants. And then for today kita ada money market and Forex. If you look at the content, we have money market and foreign exchange market. But I think foreign exchange market will be discussed next week. And then for this week kita tengoklah setakat mana kita boleh pergi. So let me share my screen. And kita boleh tengoklah for this money market topic. Alright, so again, this topic is can be divided into two parts, whereby we have money market and also foreign exchange market. So this is the chapter content. So we're going to look at the development and structure of money markets. What is money market and the money market operations, money market instruments. This is the important part lah, kita nak tengok money market instruments. And then the risk. Okay, again, every topic yang kita buat ni memang kita akan discuss about the risk. And then this one maybe kita buat next week lah. The characteristics, development, also participants of foreign exchange, and also the forex transaction and risk, and quotation and some basic trading strategies. Right. So for money market, right, what we have here, we have I have introduced to you the financial market in general. Whereby we have, so we are going to do this today, money market and also foreign exchange market. So next, nanti kita akan tengok capital market. We also have derivative market and offshore market. So these are different from one another. So for today, the focus would be on money market. Okay. Pasaran keuangan. So financial market, right, again, when we talk about financial market, we are talking about organization that is responsible for the distribution of finance. Okay. So it involves, this is also important. So when we talk about financial market, kita ada dua lah, primary market and also secondary market. So primary market ni siapa who are actually the participants in the primary markets? They are corporations and also investors. So when we talk about secondary markets, we have you and me as the investors, financial brokers, right? We have brokers here, the agents, the financial intermediaries, and also corporations. So corporation can be both in the primary market and also in the secondary market. And don't forget that we also have the government, right? So in our case, in Malaysia, we have Bank Negara that govern everything about our financial market. So these are the examples when we talk about investors. So these are the investment sector. We have business, we have government, we have household. When we talk about broker, we have investment banker, we have mortgage banker. All right, and then the secondary market is an exchange. So in Malaysia, we have Bursa Malaysia. Nama lama dia jangan cakap KLSE lah. Nama lama is Kuala Lumpur Stock Exchange. So all the exchange in the world ni, New York Stock Exchange, London Stock Exchange, ini semua adalah secondary market. Saving sector, again, this saving and investment, nampak same participants, household, businesses, and also government. And these are the financial intermediaries. So we have introduced you to the financial intermediaries, whereby we have commercial banks, pension funds, and also finance companies. All right, the development and a bit on the development and structure of money market. Kita letak short form dia lah, MM kat sini, money market. So why do we need money market? They are actually, this market provides the financial institution with the facilities for adjusting their portfolio over the short term. So we're talking about short term and anything less than 1 year. And also we are talking about the transmission of monetary policy actions by the central bank. So in Malaysia, our central bank is Bank Negara lah. Alright, and then function to reconcile interest of two group. You must remember when we talk about financial market ni, kita ada dua group. Satu, group that have temporary surplus fund, dia ada lebih surplus fund and want to lend and earn some return. So I have extra money, I want to give you so that I can earn some return. And another party or another group is that individual who needs fund immediately for short periods. Let's say for business, for investment. So they need funds immediately. So nampak, satu boleh supply, satu demand. So these are the interests of the two groups and it's actually governed by money market. So both market ni, if you look at both money and foreign exchange market, both actually transact on short-term liquid financial assets with maturity up to 1 year. So bila kita kata short-term, dia mesti less than 1 year. And financial asset traded in domestic currency for money market, right? So when we talk about money market ni kita guna RM lah. And foreign currency forex market ni kita tak pakai RM, kita pakai foreign currencies. And the price quoted in terms of a rate of interest for money market and in terms of rate of exchange for forex market. So untuk money market kita pakai interest, untuk foreign exchange kita pakai rate of exchange, which means $1 equivalent to berapa RM. Contoh rate of change. And then we can see say that both are closely related, right? So conditions in the money market have the tendency to be reflected in the exchange market and also vice versa. So changes in the interest rate in money market and both the price of financial assets and the exchange rate in the forex. So again, because kita tengok last week we learned about interest rates, so memang ada relationship lah between the interest rate and also the money and also foreign market. Right, so let's look at the first one, money market. Alright, for money market we have two parties. Kita kata two elements. One is interbank, another one is short-term securities market. Alright, the first one, interbank. Okay, when we talk about interbank market, between bank, so they are the largest money market trading of short-term funds, right? So the participants are banking institutions, discount houses, insurance company, large corporations, pension funds, and also money brokers. So again, when we go back to the operations of money market ni, kita nak reconcile tadi kan, these two groups ni, we have these two groups tadi. Alright. So satu group yang ada surplus, satu group yang need funds lah. Dia tak cukup. Satu surplus, satu deficit, satu tak cukup. So kita nak reconcile. How do we reconcile? So that is why we need this money market to reconcile this. So it's such a way, if for example this one group they have the surplus but they don't know what to do with the surplus, and this group they need funds but they don't know where to get funds. So that is why we have this money market. Alright, so again, when we talk about interbank market, these are the participants, okay? And then the transactions, right, in terms of borrowing, lending, right? For example, very simple kan, you have a surplus of money, you went to bank and then letak dia dekat fixed deposit kan. You have surplus fund, duit tak guna so you letak dekat deposit. Or you want to buy a car but you don't have enough finance, so you go to the bank and do some borrowing. So nampak? Like bila tak cukup pergi bank pinjam, ada lebih pergi bank, pergi tak ada. So these are also interbank. Standard deals in short-term funds made for a fixed period involving overnight money, 7 days, 1, 2, 3 and 6 months. Right, so here we're talking about interbank, masih lagi bank dengan bank. An important source of short-term funds for financial institutions because of the rising turnover in the market and stable interbank interest rate. Remember last week kita dah tengok all those OPR, BLR and also base rate kan. So because of this, and why banks need to borrow? So again, this is the money market operation. Kenapa bank needs to borrow interbank? Bank pun pinjam duit kan. Why do they need to borrow? Satu, maybe because of insufficient deposit base. Okay, tak cukup, so have to borrow. And secondly is to meet the statutory reserve requirement. Right, so this one I have explained to you the statutory reserve requirement. These are actually the requirements set by our bank negara to all the banks in Malaysia to maintain certain level of capital so that there won't be any surplus ataupun tak ada excessive surplus ataupun lacking of funds. That is why they have to maintain the statutory reserve requirement. So that is why bank negara has to monitor them. Alright, the short-term securities market. Okay, ini yang banyak sikit because for this one, for the short-term security market ni, kita boleh tengoklah what happened and what's going on when we talk about short-term securities market. Tadi interbank very clear. You can see that all those transactions are actually interbank. So for short-term securities market ni, okay, here we are talking about money market instrument. Nampak tak? Dia bukan jual beli duit as in duit, dia ialah instrument. So instrument involving papers je biasanya, commercial papers, and we call it commercial papers. So kertas je, kertas yang ada value lah. Alright, so these are actually the sale and purchase of money market instruments. So again, this is short term, which means less than 1 year. Alright, so it involves discount houses, money brokers, and other intermediaries. We also have short-term money market papers. We have government papers. In case you came across Malaysian government securities, kalau pernah dengar, kita ada Malaysian Treasury Bills, kita ada Bank Negara Bill. We also have government investment certificates. They are all papers. And also commercial papers. The US punya example, commercial papers. Cagamas bonds and notes. Bankers acceptance. Kita akan tengok satu-satu what are those papers actually. We have negotiable instruments of deposits, NIDs ataupun NCD. Dalam note saya letak NCD. Negotiable certificates of deposits. And also private debt securities. So these are the examples ataupun the short-term securities market. Alright, so again, just like what I showed you before, we have the participants of money market and money market, whereby we have two, primary and also secondary. Okay. So for primary market, the participants are supplier of funds, individual corporation, international trading companies, and provident fund or pension funds. In Malaysia kita ada example is EPF, and government and also statutory bodies. So ini baru nak start primary market and new issue of securities. For secondary market ni, we are talking about existing securities are being traded. That is why for secondary market we have exchange, besar tu. So dia center for secondary market activities for the loans and also deposit markets. And it relates to the dealings activities of the banks with other financial institutions. All right, next would be money market instruments. Okay, ini banyak sikit lah nanti awak kena baca. Okay, for example, kita ada repos. Kita tengok apa maksud dia. We have NCD or NID. Okay, sama certificate ataupun instrument. We have bankers acceptance. We have Malaysian government securities and also Malaysian government treasury bills. Right, so you have to understand the nature of each of these money market instruments. Alright, so first one is repos, repurchasing agreement. Namanya repurchase. Dah jual boleh beli balik. Repos agreement whereby the bank sell its valued papers. So again, we're talking about papers dekat sini. To an investor with an understanding to repurchase them at an agreed price on a specified future date. Okay. Example. I don't think I put this example in your notes, but this is the explanation of or the illustration of repo lah contohnya. Okay, this is bank, this is customer. Today, what happened today? Initial date. Kita kata today is the transaction date. So bank ni, they sell money market instruments such as NID, MGS, money to the customer. Okay, jual hari ni, customer letak principal amount. Let's say dia jual hari ni dengan harga 1 million. Okay, dia jual the paper, customer bagi 1 million. At maturity date, katakanlah maturity date dia 3 bulan. Okay, so sekarang bank can buy back the money market instruments. Okay, tadi dia jual kat customer kan, customer bayar dia 1 million. Sekarang dia nak beli balik. Bila dia nak beli balik, the customer ni akan dapat balik 1 million dia plus interest ataupun profit. So bank will pay more. So interest, kita kata dia interest bearing so bank will pay more, maknanya tadi bank dapat 1 million. So sekarang bila dia beli balik the money market instrument tu, dia beli balik pada harga 1 million plus interest. So the customer dapatlah principal amount plus interest. Ini maksud repo, dia repurchase. So dia jual dan dia boleh beli balik. NCD or NID, again, document juga. We're talking about document ni, which certifies that a certain sum of ringgit has been deposited with a financial institution at a specified rate of interest with a specified maturity period. Okay, here we're talking about corporations ataupun big company. Dia nak, let's say dia nak dia ada business, ada trading business, tapi dia nak bayar the creditor dia tak bayar dengan apa yang dia ada. Dia bayar dengan contoh NCD. Boleh faham konsepnya is that I owe you and then I want to pay you, but I don't want to pay with whatever cash that I have, but I want to pay you with my NCD. NCD ni maksudnya confirmation daripada bank, okay, bank bagi confirmation saya ada deposit dekat bank tu 1 million. So dia bagi kertas je. So payment boleh bayar dalam bentuk NCD. Instead of pergi ambil duit lain, pergi bayar ataupun tunggu bila ada sale pun baru nak bayar. So you just bagi paper tu. This is the document, bank kata okay, orang ni ada duit 1 million dekat bank dia sekarang. Rate of interest dia sekian-sekian, maturity sekian-sekian. So ini adalah evidence of deposit at a commercial bank. So bukti kita ada simpan duit dekat bank, tapi the amount, the smallest is 100,000. Okay, the smallest amount, maknanya kita boleh bagi NCD, okay, this NCD, the minimum is 100,000. So the maturity commonly 30 days, 1 month, dependent on the investors or the depositors need. So ni akan tunggu date mature lah. Date mature boleh, orang tu boleh pergi claim. Alright, so remember dia tak bayar dengan apa yang dia ada sekarang, tapi dia bayar dengan NCD. So when the date dah due, so the creditor tu bolehlah pergi claim dekat bank based on the paper tu. So ini pun konsep dia macam fixed deposit lah. Kita pergi simpan duit dekat bank, ada maturity date bila kita boleh withdraw kan. Tapi kita bawa paper tu, kita bagi dekat kita punya creditor. So, but this NCD ni is also influenced by the interbank rate. Sebab dia ada interest rate kan, specified rate of interest. So the evaluation, dia high liquidity, which means you ada commercial paper, you ada paper ni, sampai dia ada the maturity date, you can go to the bank and can claim. So high liquidity with strong secondary market. Paper ni boleh jual pula tu. Moderate risk that depends on the bank involved and high return. Okay, so these are the options. So okay, yang ni tadi the smallest is 100,000, tapi dia punya multiple dalam 50,000. Let's say saya letak I have 150 or 200, 250 so multiple 50 multiple of 50,000. So commonly 30 days, but it can be up to 5 years boleh ada kat LCD yang lama and influenced by OPR lah and also base rate Alright, next one is banker's acceptance. Okay, banker's acceptance ni namanya this is bill of exchange for traders untuk business drawn on and accepted by commercial bank in Malaysia. So dia untuk import export ni, import export goods to or from Malaysia and sales and purchase of goods service within Malaysia. So bankers acceptance. Maksudnya dia macam check payable ni tapi with the maturity juga 30 days ataupun 180 days. Sama jugalah. So macam tadi macam LCD tadi, the seller ni, siapa yang ada benda ni boleh jual balik tau. Which means okay, saya ada I am the creditor, tadi saya ada customer saya bayar saya dalam bentuk LCD. Okay, dalam bentuk LCD. Saya tahu okay, I have the money daripada orang ni dekat bank tu. Okay, saya tahu orang tu ada duit dekat bank tu dan orang ni akan guna dengan paper ni, saya boleh pergi claim dekat bank tu so that saya dapat duit tu. What if I need the cash now? So maturity dia lambat lagi kan? Katakan maturity macam ni tadi maturity dia sebulan. Dalam masa 2 weeks je, I need the money now. What I can do is I can sell pula LCD. Boleh jual. Boleh jual pada orang lain yang nak beli. So orang tu bagi saya duit sekarang dan orang tu pula nanti pergi claim dekat bank bila cukup the maturity tu. So that is why we call all these are commercial papers. Dia ialah a piece of paper je with the value and daripada bank mana-mana lah So sama dengan bankers acceptance ni. So the purchaser ni boleh pergi ambil bankers acceptance ni dia dengan syarat you memang ada duit lah dekat bank tu So dia adalah short term arrangement purchaser and its bank for financing of certain transaction. Let's say saya ada account dengan my bank, so saya ada business, so I need bankers acceptance. So bank bagi satu paper menyatakan ya okay, saya tengah tunggu sales dari China contohnya. Saya dah jual barang dekat China, saya tengah tunggu customer China saya bayar saya. Right, so bank ni bagi approval that okay, saya akan dapat duit ni, duit saya akan dapat bulan depan. So bank can issue a bankers acceptance. So sama juga macam tadi siapa yang ada bankers acceptance ni boleh jual at a discount in the secondary market to obtain immediate fund. Macam tadi lah walaupun dia sebulan, but you need the money now, you can sell. Sell, you get the money now. So orang lain pula yang ada bankers acceptance tu boleh pula pergi claim dekat bank nanti. Macam jual beli kertas je. But dalam kertas tu what information in the papers tu yang important Alright, itu bankers acceptance. Okay, kalau tadi kita tengok LCD ni, smallest is 100,000 and dia datang dalam bentuk 50,000. For bankers acceptance ni dia kecil sikit lah. Bankers acceptance ni minimum 30,000. So dia punya denomination dia dalam bentuk 1,000. So 130, 31, 32, 33, 34 So 1,000 lah, tak adalah macam tadi Alright, MGS, Malaysian Government Securities. Ini pun interest bearing consists of government bonds and loan stock which represents our government borrowings from the private sector. So issued on a tender basis from the Treasury via BNM. It can also be traded in the secondary market. So these MGS ni, Malaysian Government Securities ni, they are used to finance government development jangan kata government tak. Okay. Right. Okay. Right. So again, next one is MGS, Malaysian Government Securities. So these are actually to finance government development. So ada project government nak buat, so they issue securities, they issue bond. They issue bond, so private sector can beli the bond so that the government get the money untuk finance all the project apa semua ni. Then dia bayar balik dekat private sector ni lah And ini pun sama juga dia multiple of 1,000 juga. MJS ni. 1,000 lah. So kalau tengok the amount minimum is 1,000 Ini Malaysian Government Securities. Alright, so kita boleh kata securities ni ialah bond lah. Bond ataupun don't stop maknanya the government need the money, they issue the bond, so they get the money to finance the project Treasury Bills, okay, Treasury Bills ni dia very specific lah, nama dia pun Treasury Bills. Okay, so government issue juga represent the obligation of the Treasury Department. So you can see from here maturity is not exceeding 1 year. So again when we go back to the important factor of money market ni, dia memang short term short term market. Okay, most of the T-bills ni mature in 90 to 182 days. Okay, 3 ke 6 bulan with longer maturity such as 9 months and 1 year. So the Treasury holds weekly auction at a discount with the smallest denomination of 1,000 and are considered as risk-free. Memang risk-free because this is Treasury bill. Sama macam government securities tadi sebab government yang issue, so risk-free lah. So payable to order and entitled the holder the payment of a fixed deposit sum of maturity. So investment outlet for short-term surplus funds of commercial bank, investment bank, etc. So again, if the bank dia ada surplus of fund, tak tahu apa nak buat dengan fund tu, these are one of the channel pergi kepada Treasury bill. Risk-free because we all know kan, dah belajar high risk, high return, low risk, low return. Ini risk-free. So return dia pun ala-ala je lah not so the return low return. So we can say that this is high liquidity, strong secondary market. Siapa tak nak Treasury bill government issued, semua orang nak je. Lowest risk sebab risk free, zero risk and also so risk free maksudnya low return. Dia tak adalah macam you invest and then the risk is high but the return is also high kan. So here the risk is low, so the return is also low. Again, the function is actually to finance project jugalah to finance government expenditure project, belanja government ni so they issue Treasury bill ni. For dia sama macam bankers acceptance tadi when you have this Treasury bill you can sell. Okay, saya tak nak lagi duit ni so I can sell. So orang lain yang nak duit tu boleh beli saya punya Treasury bill so I can sell macam bankers acceptance tadi lah reduce dia sama. Alright, so here the summary. Tapi tak semuanya ada dekat Malaysia Contoh macam Treasury bill ni US ada. Ni contoh from US punya buku So Treasury bill, US Treasury. Kalau dekat Malaysia, kita punya Malaysian Treasury lah. Perbendaharaan Malaysia, Kementerian Keuangan punya. So konsep dia sama macam Malaysia punya 91 to 182 days. So when we talk about the risk and return, lowest risk so risk free. So the return is also low. Sama macam Treasury notes tadi lah. Bills and note ni konsep dia sama. Ada interest rate dia. Interest paid semi-annually. Strong secondary market which means kita boleh jual pula the Treasury note And the risk and return pun sama jugalah. Low risk and low return. Okay, NCD or NID. Okay, NID ni the issuer is the commercial bank. Boleh nampak the issuer kat sini ialah government. So here the issuer is the government. Kita kata issuer is the government. Dekat sini issuer untuk NCD is the commercial bank. Bank yang issue Bankers acceptance pun bank. Commercial paper pun it can be corporations lah tapi kita dekat Malaysia ni banks money market mutual funds ini semua kalau ada again professional portfolio management companies and also bank or security dealer. So dalam ni adalah the explanation, the detail apa maksud dia macam yang saya dah go through tadi. Alright, so these are the securities Kalau nak tengok tadi the summary tu, so these are the money market securities money market instruments. Okay, and then next would be the money market risk So when we talk about money market risk, again you can revisit your chapter 2 whereby we also discuss about interest rate risk So here we have money market risk. whereby we have number one is credit risk, we have liquidity risk, interest rate risk, and also operational risk. Basically, if you understand and you can explain what are the meaning of each type of risk ni, you have no issue later because you can explain bila kita cerita pasal credit risk contohnya. What does it mean by credit risk kan? Right, so contoh credit risk. Ni kita dah discuss last week kan. Situation whereby the borrower, so in this case we're talking about banks, is not able to make payment on the maturity date agreed. This is the risk. So when we talk about credit risk, we're talking about default. Default payment by one party, so the other party has to suffer losses. So how to manage bank? This is interbank. Interbank. So kalau interbank tu boleh juga jadi one bank or corporation they are not able to make payment on the maturity date. So what happened is that how to manage this. So first of all, bank needs to conduct a proper evaluation of financial profiles of interested party. Again, similar to our discussion last week, memang the plan or the steps or the strategies that bank undertake is actually to conduct a proper evaluation. Evaluate whether this person or this company or this bank are they able to pay on the maturity date agreed. And of course, set the credit limit. Okay, the bigger the asset size or the better managed institution is, the higher the credit limit. Let's say kita kata ini bank, apa tak dengar pun kan. So normally kalau the smaller size ni ataupun kita kata less managed, dia akan dapat lower credit limit. So this is credit risk. Default payment. Liquidity. Alright, so if you remember liquidity, last time we discussed about highly liquid asset kan. So highly liquid asset, lower risk. So here when we talk about liquidity risk, it existed in two situations. Okay, dia boleh jadi dua keadaan. Satu, a bank is not able to have easy access to funds in the market to meet commercial requirement. Okay, contohnya dia ada small credit limit je. Dia tak perform well, so dia punya performance is not good. Dia not good, dia ada small credit limit je. So bila dah small credit limit, dah fulfill, dah tak boleh, not able to borrow. Itu satu, tu liquidity position. Very tight kan, very tight credit limit dia. So dia susah nak dapat fund sebabnya dia dah meet the credit limit, dia tak nak pinjam dah. So dia ada liquidity risk. The second situation is that they are not able to convert their existing asset into cash at a reasonable market price. Tadi kita shock tunjuk kan, kita kata bank dia ada money market securities, money market instruments tu, dia ada bankers acceptance lah, dia ada NCD, NID, semua tu dia ada. What happened is they are not able to convert that securities tu, that paper tu into cash. Siapa nak beli? Macam saya bank, saya ada bankers acceptance. I can issue bankers acceptance but I have no customer. So bila tak boleh convert into cash, tak ada parti yang berminat nak beli pun the money market instrument tu, the bankers acceptance or the treasury bill tadi contohnya. So this is also a liquidity problem. Boleh nampak satu dia ada credit limit dah tight dah, tak boleh pinjam dah. Lagi satu dia tak boleh nak jual the money market instruments tu. Tak ada orang nak beli. So bila tak ada orang nak beli pun sama juga dia ada liquidity problem. Liquidity ni maksudnya dia risk of not able to convert asset into cash and not able to have access to funds. So dia ada liquidity problem. So how to manage? This is strategies for banks and also corporations. How to manage? So they have to have a mixture of long-term and short-term instruments. Okay, sebab kita nampak if short-term less than 1 year kan, less than 1 year you kena jual cepat. Okay, bagus ada short-term. At the same time, they have to have long-term instruments juga. Ni kalau dah semua long-term, semua setahun, semua 9 bulan contohnya, selagi tak sampai 9 bulan, you don't have the, kita kata you don't have the funds sebab semua long-term. So they better have a mixture of short-term and also long-term, and also monitor their liquidity ratio. Current asset divided by current liability. So kena monitor the liquidity ratio. Okay. Itu liquidity risk. So kita dah tengok credit risk, kita dah tengok liquidity risk. Kita boleh tengok interest rate risk juga. Okay. So interest rate risk ni sama macam point last week juga. Condition where a bank's revenue is adversely affected by the fluctuations in interest rates. So dia punya revenue dia tak boleh nak cover the interest rate ataupun the interest expense dia. So how to manage this interest rate risk? What bank have to do is monitor and predict interest rates to avoid making bad decisions because it will cause them to suffer small or negative spread. Later on kita ada, bila kita nak buat bank performance nanti, kita akan belajar pasal spread ni lah. Spread ni is the difference between interest income and interest expense. That is why by now, I think by now you all dah have access to financial position, statement financial position of banks. So you can see kan beza sangat asset dengan liability dia. So here when we talk about spread, we're talking about interest income. For example, when bank accept deposit from customer, deposit from customer ialah liability dia kan. So liability dia bila customer bagi dia deposit itu ialah liability dan bank has to pay interest expense dekat customer dia. Sama juga kalau bank buat bank yang pergi pinjam dengan bank lain kan. So bank bila dia make loans dia kena bayar interest expense dekat tempat yang dia buat loan tu. So the difference between interest income dia and also interest expense dia kita kata spread. So kalau negative spread maksudnya dia punya belanja lagi tinggi dari interest income dia. Apa yang dia dapat, duit dia yang dia pergi deposit kat tempat orang tu, right? Yang dia dapat more than apa yang dia bayar dekat customer dia. So that is why very important untuk interest rate ni dia kena monitor lah. Untuk tak nak dapat negative spread, dia nak positive spread. And next one is operational risk. So bad operational system and the incompetency of the personnel of the parties in the money market. Alright, maybe you came across bila contohnya kita pergi certain banks, kita nampak macam asal bank ni macam sedih kan, they don't have the technology, they don't have the online banking, dia tak ada mobile banking, dia tak ada ATM, you kena pergi buat benda semua kat dalam bank tu. Dia tak, jadinya dia tak high tech lah. Okay, itu adalah operational risk. Bandingkan dengan bank yang besar-besar, contohnya ada ATM dekat banyak tempat. And then ada mobile banking, ada internet banking kan, boleh masuk buat transaction online. Itu operational risk because some banks, they are not, kita kata, they can't afford to have all that high tech ni. So tak boleh. Bila dia tak dapat all this high tech ni, kita kata dia incompetent lah. So the operational system ni mungkin tak catch up dengan the other banks yang besar-besar ni kan. So they also have to manage, the small banks, and they also have to manage to train, update development in the financial system. Okay. Like for example, dulu-dulu kan kita cuma ada ATM. ATM tu untuk keluar duit je. Tapi kalau nak pergi simpan duit, dia tak ada mesin kan. Ataupun kena pergi tempat lain yang ada, kena pergi bank je simpan duit dekat bank. Because that bank, dia tak ada cash deposit machine. Kita nampak benda tu very simple but it is the operational risk for the bank. Dia tak boleh nak survive, dia tak boleh nak catch up dengan teknologi ataupun dengan operational system of other banks. So these are also the risk saya skip dulu the discussion question ni. We can come back to this later, the main purpose of but you can try to find the answers when we talk about, for example, the main purpose of money market. Kenapa kita kena ada money market ni? And why do business use the money market? And why are treasury bills a favorable money market instrument for the government? And why treasury bill is also a favorable money market instrument to the government, to the investor. So kenapa? Tadi kita dah tengok kan, kalau treasury bill ni kita kata dia low risk. So low return lah, tapi favorable sebab dia low risk kan. Because if you go for low risk ataupun no risk instruments, so this is the best. Alright, this is self-test question. Maybe boleh try. I have 1, 2, 3 soalan. Tengok question 1 and 2 dulu. Right, what do you think the answer for question 1? Which of the following are long-term financial instruments? A, 6-month loan, B, negotiable certificate of deposit, C, banker's acceptance, D, treasury bill, E, none of the above. Long-term financial instrument. Kita belajar semua ni hari ni. But are they long-term financial instruments? Ada tak? Semua ni long-term?
None of the above.
Right. Thank you, Luqman. None of the above Sebab semua ni ialah short-term financial instruments Tak ada long-term. Semua ni short-term. Semua ni less than 1 year. Alright, what about number 2? Which of the following statements about financial markets and securities are true? This is about that instrument and bond. Kakak, apa jawapan dia? The answer is A. That instrument is long term if its maturity is 10 years or longer. But some books dia kata 1 year tu it can be short term and intermediate term. Short term tu biasanya less than 3 months itu short term. Tapi kalau lebih daripada 10 tahun tu memang long term lah. Macam kita buat treasury bill semua tu treasury bill, government securities itu ada yang long term juga Tapi untuk yang hari ni kita cover the short term parts lah. Okay. Last one. Important financial institution that assists in the initial sale of securities in the primary market. Ini dah buat last week ni masa kita buat topic 1. Investment bank, brokerage house, commercial bank or stock exchange. Ni keyword dia dekat sini, sale of securities. What do you think? Ni bukan. Commercial bank tak buat
Stock exchange.
Stock exchange betul tak? Primary market stock exchange ni ialah secondary.
B.
So this adalah secondary market, dia bukan primary market.
B.
Sale of security in the primary market is salah.
Investment sale.
Investment bank not commercial bank. Commercial bank tak buat sale of securities. Brokerage house tak buat sebab dia agent dia tak buat sale of initial. Ni initial Kalau sale of securities in the secondary market, yes, stock exchange. Kalau sale of securities sahaja, brokerage house pun boleh buat. But now keyword here is initial. Masa baru nak start tu, baru nak start investment bank yang buat dia issue dia kata prospectus tu. Okay. Any questions so far? Dia untuk this money market the important is that bila kita cerita pasal ni lah tadi especially the risk ni satu and the different types ni. Right, different types of money market instruments. So yang ni you should be able to explain apa dia benda ni and how it works lah So I hope you can understand, especially macam for these two ni konsep dia sama lah, dia macam bond kan. So yang lagi 3 ni pun konsep dia macam sama je. Macam yang ni kan dia tadi bila bayar balik dia ada principal plus interest kan. Ini pun sama macam bank. Dua-dua ni kita boleh jual balik, you can sell if you need the cash ataupun the funds tu.
Doktor,
Ya.
sorry, Malaysia Government Security tu maturity days dia berapa? Paling lama?
Sama macam Treasury
Sama,
Bills.
Oh,
Sama je.
okay.
Macam yang ni kan sebab kita sekarang bila kita classify dia sebagai short, sebab nanti bila kita tengok long term untuk long term pun dia ada, tapi bila kita buat short term dia less than 1 year lah. Samalah macam yang ni Treasury Bill ni. Tak lebih dari 9 bulan. Less than 1 year juga. So most of ni 30 hari kan. Ni 90 ke 182. So securities pun sama juga. Dia tak lebih 1 tahun. Dia biasanya untuk MGS ni dia lain sikit sebab dia spesifik projek. Dia issue securities untuk spesifik projek. Contoh masa dia nak buat, lama saya tak ingat lah apa nama projek tu, projek MRT tu. Dia namakan sebagai apa projek tu. Dia issue securities untuk that particular project. So nampak tak? Sebab tu the function dia is to finance certain project. So nak buat projek MRT tu, dia terbitkan government security, government bond. Dia terbitkan bond. Saya tak ingat lah apa benda nama. Nanti kalau if I can find it, I share with you. Dia untuk setiap projek yang nak buat tu, biasanya dia akan terbitkan bond. So kita boleh beli bond tu. Which means kita tahu, okay, government tengah buat projek tu, of course projek tu akan complete kan. So kita beli bond tu. So we have the interest lah dalam that project. So memang dia go by project. Dia bukan sesaja isu suka-suka tak. Dia akan isu untuk finance certain projek. Nak buat MRT ke, nak buat bangunan ke, yang mana dia hire contractor untuk buat benda tu kan. And the government has to pay the contractor kan. Kena bayar interest, kena bayar all the periodic payment dekat contractor tu. Jadi dia terbitkan bond. Dia terbitkan bond ni, so dia boleh bayar lah dekat private sector tu kan. So yang kita tengok so far, all these are actually papers dia paper je. Sekejap Anak saya ada tuition tapi teacher dia bagi tahu ni kita rosak pula, start lambat sikit. So the risk ni pun boleh risk ni pun some of them tu the discussion sama macam masa kita buat interest tu je. Right, yang banyak ni Forex tu. So right, kita tengok sikit untuk Forex ni sikit je. And the rest I will continue next week. Okay, so the second types of financial market ni kita ada foreign exchange market. Kalau tadi money market ni, the discussion is actually only the kita kata the instruments circulated dalam Malaysia je, itu money market and transacted in ringgit Malaysia. So the price apa semua tadi tu yang kita tengok tu, bankers acceptance apa semua tu, itu semua dalam ringgit Malaysia. Okay. Next market is foreign exchange market, ataupun mungkin you biasa dengar kita sebut forex. So foreign exchange market ni, first of all, before we move on, we need to know the differences between the two. Apa beza money market and forex market ni? Okay, again, like I said, the money market ni, all the financial asset traded in domestic currency. So di mana-mana negara pun, when they talk about money market, they are talking about assets traded in their domestic currency. Tak kisahlah ringgit Malaysia ke, Singapore dollar ke, British pound ke, itu ialah money market traded in domestic currencies. And the price quoted in term of interest. Contoh bankers acceptance kita buat tadi, kita buat repo tadi kan. So the interest, the principal plus interest, 1 million plus the interest in terms of expressed in percentage. And participants, mostly locals. We also have bank negara, banking institutions. Okay, so these are the participants in our money market. What about forex? Okay, foreign exchange market ni, the financial asset traded ni in foreign currency. For example, US dollar, Great Britain pound. Dia bukan dalam RM. The price, okay, kalau sini tadi dia quote price dalam bentuk interest rate, but for forex ni dia quote price in terms of exchange rate. Contoh RM versus USD. 1 USD kemudian tu 4 ringgit something. Contohnya. Participants are locals and foreigners, and also importer, exporter, and forex dealer. Okay. So foreign exchange is a price of one currency in terms of another. Contohnya kalau kita tengok apa ni, exchange rate sekarang, then you can check lah 1 US dollar sama dengan berapa RM. Okay, so ataupun 1 British pound sama dengan berapa RM. So biasanya kita quote, kita baca harga currency orang over currency kita. Kita tak baca harga currency kita over currency orang. Kita tak kata 1 ringgit Malaysia berapa USD, tak. 1 USD berapa ringgit Malaysia. Senang the conversion biasanya macam tu. So again, sekarang kita dah tahu the participants are actually local foreigners, importer and also exporter, and also forex dealer. Sedih saja kita tak involve dalam forex market ni. So we have wholesale interbank market for the sale and purchase of foreign currencies, including purchases by exporters to pay their imports and sale of ringgit by exporters arising from receipt of export proceed. Right, contohnya if you want to export product to China, contoh. China nak bayar dalam Chinese yuan, dia nak bayar dalam currency dia. Dia bayar dalam currency dia, kita bawa duit tu masuk ke Malaysia, kita nak convert ke in RM jadi berapa ringgit. Itu ialah forex market. Ataupun orang yang import barang, kita dekat Malaysia import barang from Australia contohnya. Okay, you import buah dari Australia. So kena bayar dalam Australian dollar. Okay, lagi mahal Australian dollar tu, lagi mahal lah kita kena bayar dalam bentuk RM. So lagi murah harga barang kita import, lagi murah lah kita bayar dalam bentuk RM. And the deals transacted actually using money brokers. Kita ada Telex, kita ada Reuters direct dialing screen untuk direct dealings with bank abroad. So these are actually the platform lah. Ada macam-macam platform untuk deal. So forex market ni is a 24 hours market. Dia tak ada ni lah sebabnya kita siang sana malam kan. Sana malam, sini sana siang, sini malam So dia jalan 24 hours. So kita pakai exchange rate tadilah untuk apa ni? Untuk forex ni So again kalau kita cakap pasal money market tadi, dia buy and sell currency dalam bentuk papers kan. So foreign exchange money, foreign exchange market ni dia adalah buy and sell kata currencies of the world. Inilah masa ni you nak berkenalan if you go to bank or you Google tengok foreign exchange rate keluar macam-macam currency yang tak pernah dengar apa ada nanti kan. Okay, so those are the quoted exchange rate. So again, participants are commercial banks, funding companies, merchant banks, exporters. Merchant bank ni investment bank ni ni nama lama dia merchant bank ni, tukar sikit, investment banks, exporters, importers, forex dealers, forex broker. So kita ada Exchange Control Act ni pun Sekarang dah ada, kita panggil Financial Services Act 2013. Alright, so what is the role of central bank in forex market ni? Okay, sebab dia floating rate, dia ialah currency of the world. Jadi any deviation dekat equilibrium level macam kita tengok last week tu will result in central bank implementing monetary policies to bring currencies back to desired level. Right? So ini pun bank negara kena kontrol lah sebab dia tak nak terlalu banyak sangat duit keluar kan. Sebab sometimes kita nampak okay ada pekerja asing ni bagus, but if we look at the movement of funds tu kan, dia kerja dekat sini, dia dapat gaji dalam RM tapi dia hantar all the money overseas balik kepada country dia. So what happened to our economy? Kita bayar gaji dia in RM tapi RM kita keluar, which is not good. Kita nak duit masuk kan, kita bukan nak duit kita keluar. So bila keadaan yang macam tu, that is why ada polisi untuk pekerja asing. Adalah macam-macam polisi to control that. Sebab kita tak nak nanti yalah banyak sangat duit keluar, nampak macam tak ada apa-apa kan. And then bila kita buka sektor untuk tourism, nampak macam sekarang ni it's not, yalah dia ada argument kan sebalik kita masih lagi belum safe daripada COVID, tapi kenapa nak buka untuk contoh nak buka Langkawi kan untuk anyone yang dah fully vaccinated. Kita nampak benda tu macam bawa masuk datang daripada mana pun. Sebab for the government, they see this is the movement of money. Dah lama kita tutup borders kan, duit dah lama tak masuk. In terms of tourism, duit dah lama tak masuk. Yang ada cuma duit trading je. So this is one of the ways lah so that they can bring the money in. And they dah freeze ambil pekerja asing pun dah lama kan. Ni baru nak start ambil balik. So all this semua bukan setakat polisi-polisi yang kita nampak macam pekerja asing lah, tourism dia termasuk dengan monetary policy tu. Sebab dia tak nak ada, yelah exchange rate kita jadi terlalu rendah kan. Contoh macam Indonesia kan sampai juta-juta nak convert boleh jadi berapa ratus duit kita So kita tak nak sampai value tu jatuh jadi sampai macam tu lah. So again the central bank ni is to curb inflationary pressure. So dia nak keep the exchange rate above equilibrium. That is why sometime nanti later I think next week lah kita discuss more about the foreign exchange intervention ni. So government boleh beli one currency against another in the spot or forward market. Kita berkenalan dengan spot and forward tu nanti next week lah. So ada banyak lagi dalam foreign exchange ni, and also the example tu semua saya akan bagi next week lah. Any question tak? So the rest I will continue next week for this forex ni. So in the meantime, jangan lupa your quiz. Saya tak ingat saya availablekan bila hari ni kot. You can check my guru. Dah available ke belum?
Hari ni pukul 4.
Habis kelas dah boleh buat quiz lah. Tapi nak baca buku dulu kan? Okay, so you have until next week. So tapi saya bagi 50 minutes lah. Once you buka, you have 50 minutes only. But if you have issue, sometimes my guru ni dia tak apa nak stable. Like last time saya ada issue yang kata dah buat, dah submit tapi tak keluar kan. So if anything, just let me know. Saya boleh make sure it is genuine lah. Janganlah dah buat rasa macam banyak salah tu nak buat balik kan. Tak naklah macam tu. But if you really have problem with the internet, let me know. Saya boleh reset balik so that you can attempt lagi sekali lah. Tapi kalau tak ada apa-apa issue, just proceed lah and try to get as high marks as possible. Sebab start quiz ni, saya akan count the marks lah. Soalan macam hari tu juga, 10 multiple choice questions. So you have time to go through the notes. Tak payah buat lagi lah. Baca-baca dulu, then boleh jawab. So untuk sebab hari Thursday and Friday ni Perak cuti public holiday. Thursday Deepavali, Friday kebukaan Sultan Perak. So Jumaat ni saya tak ada kelas so I will use this video untuk share dengan diorang lah nanti. So that next week kita start dengan presentation. So if you have any question about your assignment nanti pun don't worry, you can just ask me. Cuma I apologize siap lah kalau saya lambat respon. Saya ada banyak sikit isu sekarang baru start semester ni, so banyak sikit benda saya nak kena kena attend tu. But insyaAllah I'll try my best untuk jawab. So, kadang jangan terkejut kan, tiba-tiba saya tanya benda malam. Ada time yang betul-betul baru tersedar kan. Macam malam tadi kalau ada yang notice, baru ada notes itu pun dah malam baru sempat nak buat Right? So kalau tak ada apa-apa, I think that's all.
Doktor,
Yeah.
minimum slide untuk presentation task 1 tu berapa? Untuk 5 minit?
Tak ada
minimum.
minimum. Tak ada minimum.
Tak ada minimum.
Agak-agak you present for 5 minutes je. So kalau boleh, of course kita nak tahulah which bank kan yang you buat tu. And then the financial statement dia kalau nak tunjuk. Sebabnya I'm more interested to see balik kepada soalan tu lah nak tengok apa ni asset
liability.
Yeah. So you can present whichever way you like, nak tunjuk table ke nak tunjuk graph ke apa ke, up to you. Tapi 5 minutes lah so please keep to the time, kita tak nak panjang-panjang lah. About the company pun tak nak cerita panjang-panjang lah So just tunjuk je bank apa, tahun berapa, and then the asset and also the liability position. Saya bagi task dulu, lepas tu baru kita discuss the content of the balance sheet tu. You all buat dulu, nanti baru kita discuss kenapa jadi macam tu. So why the asset and liability of the bank is different from asset and liability from other types of companies. Sekarang dah nampak tak sama kan? Dia tak ada bangunan lah apa tak ada. Sebab kita biasa letak duit dekat bank kita tu ialah asset kan? Tapi untuk banks punya perspektif, deposit kita tu ialah liability je. Asset kita tapi liability je. Okay, ada soalan lain lagi tak? Tak ada Alright, so kalau tak ada, that's all for today. I will see you next week.
Thank you, Doktor.
Alright, okay, thank you.
Thank
Okay,
you,
jangan
Doktor.
lupa buat quiz sampai minggu depan. Ada sampai 8 hari bulan
Baik.
Alright, okay.
Thank you, Doktor.
Alright, thank you.